sorry, I'm going to go off on a little
Hey, no.
It's
sidetrack
what we
here.
do.
Tangent away.
It's what we do.
Yeah. So the best way for a government to control people is like they talk about universal basic income or some kind of welfare or something like that. That's a wonderful way to make people dependent on the government. So, what would be more amazing than having to depend on the government for your immune system? Like, that is the ultimate show of power right there. And that's what I see happening with this whole COVID thing is they're like, okay, well, we can get them to come for this, but yeah, they don't really need that. They could go get a job, so they don't really need the welfare. And we could get them to come to us for, oh, well, the roads, yeah, they could probably do that on their own, but let's get them to come to us. But how about their immune system? If we literally control whether or not they get sick, then we have absolute power of them, and they can't just walk away from that once they believe that the government owns their ability to be well. That
Well,
was it.
and you're not. Some people might
Spot
take.
on.
Well, some people might hear that and say, "Well, that's a little bit far fetched." It's like, no, like we already said, they closed. They forced closed. Literally, the healthiest place you could be,
Mm-hmm.
because a key ingredient to a healthy immune system is a fit body. And I don't mean you don't need to be jacked. You don't need to have six packs, but exercise helps your immune system.
Cardiovascular.
And I know this because my gym, after they reopened, literally had, I told you about this, they had on their board, somebody drew it or whatever, but it was like how like exercise helps your immune system. And I'm like, well, that's curious because of course the gyms didn't choose to be closed, but like we all know this. This is not something that we argue about because let's face it, if you have a person who's morbidly obese, weighs 350 pounds, can barely walk, they are going to be more prone to illness than somebody who is
No.
healthy.
Yeah.
And literally, obesity by itself, without all the other, physical benefits of exercising regularly, just the obesity alone, I think somewhere I read it makes you 30% more likely to contract average viruses, colds, flus, that kind of thing. Probably just the fact that you're not moving around as much.
Yeah, it's amazing what our even our mental states can do to our health. And so my story is I was really healthy. I got into a marriage that was not ideal, and I let myself go. I got overweight. I was really stressed out, and I actually became type 1 diabetic. And so ended up on insulin and metformin and like all this kind of stuff. I had like these ridiculous numbers. So my A1C was twice as much as what would be considered diabetic. So diabetic is at 7. Mine was at 14.38. So it was just, I mean, absolutely insane. My average blood sugar, they estimated, would have been about 300 over the course of the preceding 3 months. And so fortunately, I don't really know what changed mentally. Like I've tried to think back to exactly what changed, but I went from that to not needing any of that anymore, not having anything that even slightly indicates diabetes within, I don't know, a year or something like that. So within just a couple of weeks of getting on the insulin, I didn't need insulin or metformin anymore. I had to get off of all of that because my blood sugar was crashing. But that all had to do with stopping working out and being in a poor mental state. So I actually got diabetes from just being in a just generally a bad situation and not taking good care of myself. So if that's me, someone who went from I was running half marathons prior to getting married. That was just what I did. I'd go out and work out and then go run a bunch. And so going from that to that horrible mental state and then showing how sick you can be and how well you can get after that, both mentally and physically.